Fear of the dark. Well, that's another major one, right? So, how can you deal with it? Do you have any guess? How are we going to deal with a person that is fearing the dark? You guessed it. Number one, intellectualize it. What is the darkness, anyways? It's the lack of light. That's all there is. You know what? When you walk the street and it's really dark, guess what? It's the same street. Just like you've seen it during the day, the exact same street. The only difference is that the earth is turned to the other side of the sun. It's pretty weird when you begin to think about it that the location of the earth in comparison to the sun has anything to do with how you feel right now being on the same street. It's almost ridiculous, right? Just like it's always is when you begin to intellectualize it, when you begin to think about it. Guess what? It's the same old street, it's the same buildings, it's the same everything. The only one difference is the lack of light. Now, again, sometimes a fear could be something deeper, could be maybe other fears that are associated with it. Maybe it's not really the fear of the dark. When you begin to talk about it with the person, it turns out that he really fears, I don't know, being attacked by someone. Maybe it's the fear of other people, or the fear of being attacked, or the fear of being alone, or the fear of losing control, or maybe there are many fears out there. It's really surprising how many other. Maybe it's not really the darkness that he's worried about, and that's why, again, it's always very important not to assume that it's really the darkness. You just talk with the person and try to go deeper and deeper and deeper and really realize where the problem relies. But right now we are assuming that the problem is with the darkness itself. So we talked about intellectualizing it, and now the second thing is to gradually deal and confront with the problem. So with darkness, I think it's really easy. You can use a dimmer, and you can basically dim the light and make the light go dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, or basically have more and more and more darkness, or less and less and less light. It's the same thing. And over time, gradually, you will see the point in which the person begins to show some anxiety. And when that happens, do you know what you should do? That's right, you should use the techniques that we talked about dealing with anxiety, which could be the breathing technique, it could be the grading technique, it could be all the things that we talked about in that video, right? So make sure that you try that, dimming the light until you see at which point he begins to show some anxiety. The third technique is associating the fear with something positive. Again, anchoring. Just you can hold his hand and walk with him through the night, go to a really dark place like a mountaintop or something in the middle of the night and just walk with him. That's it, and it could be pretty scary because you're all alone there and you could see the wolves and everything. It could be a really scary experience, and don't use any flashlight or anything. Just walk with him and he will associate this feeling of being comfortable with you with the darkness. Of course, that's not the only way to do it. You can just, if we are talking about a little kid or something, we can have some sort of a toy, some sort of a fluffy, whatever, friend that he can hold and cuddle with, and that could be associated, this kindness and warmth and cuddling with this friend could be associated with the darkness. Alright? I don't know, some people enjoy having sex in the darkness, so sex in the dark, I think it's a great way to associate the darkness with something positive, right? Assuming that you enjoy having sex. Another thing, I don't know, a lot of spiritual ceremonies are done in the darkness, a lot of parties are done in the darkness. Darkness doesn't have to be all bad, it's not all about crime or sleeping. There's a lot going on that could happen during the dark. Maybe invite him to a party that's done in night, and he will enjoy the party and associate this feeling of joy with the darkness. Alright, so play around with it, and that I hope will solve this fear.